Hi, folks. Cliff from Talking Pondo here. I want to give you a quick warning about the upcoming episode. We do talk about the movie in quite a bit of detail, plot points, and so on, so there will be spoilers. And just fair warning, there is some adult language every now and then, so I just want to give you a heads up on that. Also, you can watch our latest film trilogy, Writing Frenzy, Revenge of Zoe, and The Love Song of William H. Shaw. Those are available on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Fossum, Hoopla, and Zumo. So get out there and give them a watch. I hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. Is your premise that maybe Linda would have made it work with Brat? He wouldn't have gotten up and run if she had tried to give him a blowjob before jumping his bones?
It might have eased things in a little bit. She just jumps right. It's like, whoa!
Oh my fucking god, that's the best fucking thing ever.
She's in a she doesn't know any better, and fucking, it's like, ooh, from a clinical point of view, it's like, ooh, that's really. That's ouch, And of course, they break the cycle by the end of the movie, but it's. Welcome to Season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Jeff Spicoli is late for wrestling class, will not be seen this week, so we may bring you this body slam of a show.
I'm really starting to enjoy these.
They write themselves.
Yeah, that's a good one though.
It's U.S. history. I see the globe right there.
Oh, Jesus. Learn about Cuba, having some food.
Right? Having a disturbance on our time. So it is Talking Pondo. Which number is this? Is this 12?
Season 3, episode 12.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting with your family. That's a different movie.
Let's not bring that up.
Fighting with my family. Right? Yes. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Fighting with the family. Fighting with my family. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We're going through the alphabet and we pulled out 2 F movies this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
That's what we did. Yeah,
well, it's Marty and Cliff doing that movie review analysis thing once a week.
That's right.
No guest, but guests are soon to be happening, and other proper sentences.
We've got some special themed weeks coming up for you soon. We're going to get into spooky season pretty soon. Marty and I, in particular, are going to a spooky convention, I guess you could call it. And that's one of the reasons these movies were picked, is that I think Soraya is going to be there, and then Amy Wynn?
Amanda Wyss. Fast Times. So yeah, this is a total Mad Monster episode.
Yeah, total Mad Monster episode. Yeah, and we make no apologies for it. Mad Monster's a good time, and we think you should go. And we also think, honestly, Mad Monster should probably sponsor us.
Yeah, we're just getting ourselves hyped up for the convention by watching movies that feature people who are at the convention. And in the case of Fighting with my family.
Fighting with my family.
Fighting with somebody's family. I learned who one of the guests were because I don't pay attention to wrestling, so I didn't know who Paige was, and now I do. And it's like, oh, okay, so now I know who that guest is. But in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Amanda Wyss is
Brad's girlfriend.
What's her name? Julie? What's her name?
Oh gosh.
Well, anyways,
yes.
Yeah, she works at the burger place with them. That's big, but she's also in the background of the movie all the time. What's something I noticed different? I guess let's start with Fast Times, and before I go too far into a spiel about a joke and ask you what is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I do want to say this time I paid much more attention to the background actors than I ever used to, and it's kind of fun because you see all the other students over and over again. They keep recycling all of them. So she's in a lot of the back. The Pat Benatar clones are constantly in the background, and
Very
so
much
I was
so.
like, "Oh shit, they're a much larger part of the movie than I would give them credit usually because they don't have a lot of dialogue, but they're always there."
Mm-hmm,
So that was
mm-hmm,
kind of fun. But
mm-hmm.
anyways, what is Fast Times at Ridgemont High for those who don't know? There might be some people who still don't know.
I mean, I think there's a generation growing up that probably hasn't seen this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I would tell them. Well, I'll tell them at the end. Anyway, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, 1982, rated R, 1 hour and 30 minutes, directed by Amy Heckerling and written by Cameron Crowe. Whew. Damn.
Yeah.
A group of yeah, a group of SoCal high school students would rather ignore their studies and indulge in their teenage distractions. That's the log line.
Mm-hmm.
Storyline. A look at the lives and loves of a group of high school students. It's the final year of high school for Brad Hamilton, who decides he should break up with his longtime girlfriend to play the field. He's at a loss, however, when she breaks up with him first. Jess Piccoli continues to take delight in getting under the skin of his teacher, Mr. Hand. Others are looking for love, sex, and just plain having a good time, which, for the most part, they all seem to find, though sometimes in unexpected places. What a terrible storyline.
Yeah, that's a real romanticized,
God,
strange
yes.
outlook on it.
God,
But it's
God
a lot bleaker of a movie if you really. I remember the one time I saw this at the theater a few years back at the Loft, I was like, this movie is fucking bleak. It's so dark. The abortion thing sticks out on. But I'm saying if you watch it at the theater, it feels so different than watching it at home. I've seen it a million times at home. I laugh my ass off. I see it in the theater. I'm like, ugh.
I think it's. Since you want to talk about that real quick or bring it up, I'll say this. I had this thought about it. This is early on when, like, this kids were doing this, but films and television weren't reflecting it, right? Like this was a truth in society that wasn't really being talked about, and so I think to put it on film in that manner was pretty, pretty edgy, I guess, and well handled.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could have lingered on it and made it, but you're right. It's kind of bleak where you're just like, oh
it's
man,
not pure
that's
comedy.
tough.
There's some real dramatic
absolutely.
stuff, and it popped more larger for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually, I'm like, yeah, that's there and that's fucked up, but
Yeah.
it just it felt more emphasized for some reason off the film print that one time I got to see it.
My first note is I'm glad they didn't have Sammy Hagar do a Fast Times theme song because God, that would have sucked. Sorry.
but they did. You drive, I'll drive. You navigate. They just don't say the lyrics, but that
but it's not the Fast Times fucking. It's not heavy metal. That's what I meant.
It's funny. There's several Fast Times theme song in the movie. There's that song, which is just called Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There's I Don't Know, which I feel is based off of I Don't Know. That's nice. And then there's what is it? This could be the best years of our lives. The football song, because Brad's all, this could be the best year of my life, I'm a single successful guy. And I'm like, oh, I feel like they took those three ideas from the movie and then kind of put a score around it. They might not be the greatest songs ever, but I thought it was kind of neat how they.
Well, I think that Jackson Brown plays well with.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Jennifer
Whoever
Jason
did the
Leigh,
timing
too.
of the editing of. Oh my God! It's so perfectly awkward. Where it's like, oof.
Yeah, especially when they pull back to the dugout and it's just that shot.
Oh my God, Brad! How old is this guy? Why are you taking her to the point?
He's 26 years old. He's 26 years old.
Yeah, it's all fucked up.
So I want to say right over, we got the beat right over the Universal logos credits is for me like the most dopamine nostalgia hit. Like every time I watch this movie and it starts like that, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, here we go. And the copy I watched was a Blu-ray copy that looked just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a thought of if you didn't live the 80s, kind of 90s, maybe even early 2000s mall culture, you're gonna kind of miss a bit of this movie. Like you'll still get the jokes, but you won't get it like
Yeah.
it won't hit like that way anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized this time that the mall, it's their escape, right? When I noticed when they're at the mall, everybody's kind of smiling. And when they're
Mm-hmm.
not at the mall, there's usually no expression or a blank look. There can be smiles outside of the mall, but usually when they're at the mall, that's like the happy place for everybody. I noticed. I never really caught that before, but it makes sense because it's their internet. It's the place to go where everything is happening at that time.
Smoking is upstairs to your left.
Smoking is
Smoking is
upstairs.
upstairs to your left.
Dolly Parton
In a
giving you a
in
percentage of the profits.
in a movie theater, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think I can. Maybe as a kid, I remember going to a movie theater where somebody smoked, but it was
It's very early
super
on. They cut that
rare.
out
Yeah,
before we were even 10. Yeah.
I smoked in the movie theater at the Sayufi chain where we worked
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning. I think I was probably 19 or 20 years old.
Yeah. For more information on that, listen to our Adam's Family Values episode. Right?
That's
'Cause
right.
wasn't that the movie where
That's right. That's exactly it. You nailed it, man. You
I
got a good
think you
memory.
do tell that story on that one.
Awesome.
And that theater is showing the best little whorehouse in Texas. I never noticed
Ooh.
that before because of the HD copy, but that's the Dolly Parton joke. Well, that's
Yep.
1982 for you. And also like 1982, and we still haven't covered Poltergeist, but we were talking about it, how it's that Toby Hooper, Steven Spielberg, who did what? It feels so similar. Well, right here we got the same thing going with Cameron Crowe, Amy Heckerling. They merge so well together
Yeah.
that it's almost indecipherable
Yeah.
what's what. It just becomes this unique thing.
The dialogue is exceptional.
Mhm.
In the fact that it has a lot to say and it moves the story along. There are several characters in this movie who have speeches that basically reveal so much about themselves, but without being expositive. It's not about moving the story along. It's about revealing, like when Damone does the whole, it doesn't matter where she comes, stays, prays, like blah blah blah. Well, my toes are tapping. You're just like, oh, okay, you're that guy.
Then you have the attitude.
Yep. And then you listen to Stacy's girlfriend, played by the adorable Phoebe Cates.
Oh, Linda. Yeah.
Linda talking about, guys have to last 45 minutes and, he's a young kid and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, you're a young kid. What are you talking
exactly
about?
right. You watch this movie as a kid.
So they're revealing themselves very much through and it's great dialogue. It's really well done.
Right. You watch this movie when you're younger and it's just like, oh, they're just young people being young. You watch it older and they're doing this perfect job of capturing the naiveness of a young person. And you go, oh, Linda and Damone, they're both completely inexperienced.
Yes, completely.
They're full of shit.
That's exactly it. That's what I'm talking about. They
reveal
themselves.
One out there living life.
Yeah, it's that classic trope of like in these kind of sex comedies, and this is an early. I think this opened up sex comedies for the 80s. This is 82. Yeah. This thing's huge, and here they come.
Yeah.
And you get all these different ones, but one of the things in a sex comedy that's classic is this this idea that you have a friend who is offering advice that is that they try, that always ends in some sort of ridiculous farcical result because the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then when that guy is actually confronted with the moment, of course he crumbles and can't get it done. It's always how it works, right? And that's why Rat's character gets up when she's trying to get all over him, and he's like, I should go, right? Like he's what people in his a time period would call a nerd or a loser, but at the same time he's the only one with kind of an ethic and a clear idea of what he wants, right? He's not just trying to be something or do something.
she's a very aggressive girl rat. You know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. It's like, I have a different interpretation of the movie now, more Dr. Drew Loveline interpretation of the film. But it is funny, like, to go back to Linda being like, oh, if I didn't have a fiance and blah, blah, I'd go for it. It's like, there is no fucking fiance and blah, blah anymore. In Weird Science, and Anthony Michael Hall's got a girlfriend in Canada. You know, it's the same bullshit. It's like, you're talking shit.
Yeah.
But analyzing the movie now, watching it all these years later, and you go, oh my God, this is feels very real and lived in for its time period. But if you look at it through the 2025 goggles, which you're not supposed to do because it makes the movie seem really bizarre.
It does.
But you go, oh my God. So Stacy goes out with this much older guy. She's a minor, basically gets sexually assaulted at the fucking school grounds of all places. And then what does she do? She proceeds to start reenacting the event by sexually assaulting every guy she comes into contact with. So what happens is, the only piece of advice that, and of course this is farcical a bit, but it's funny, listen, hear me out. The only piece of advice that Linda gives her that's practical at all is how to give a blowjob, right? But do we see Stacy engaging in any sort of foreplay? It's clothes off and we're fucking. No wonder these guys are like walking out after 5 seconds going, and she's like, what's going on? It's like, because that's weird. She's a very aggressive girl rat. Well, I don't understand what you mean, you know. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe everybody's a little fucked up here. Simone shouldn't have gone to her house, obviously. But Stacy's got some issues going too there. She's acting out, you know.
So is your...
Which makes his new scene in the uncut version make more sense, you know. It's more
is your premise that maybe Linda would have made it work with Brat? He wouldn't have gotten up and run if she had tried to give him a blowjob before jumping his bones?
It might have eased things in a little bit. She just jumps right. It's like, whoa.
Oh my fucking God, that's the best fucking thing ever.
She's inexperienced. She doesn't know any better, and fucking, you know. It's like, ooh, from a clinical point of view, it's like, ooh, that's really... That's ouch, you know. And of course, they break the cycle by the end of the movie, but it's just like, oh my God, I never thought of it like that before because I'm older now. And you look at it and you go, oh, these people are not experienced.
She should have just been given the blowies.
She tried to, the only practical thing she ever taught her. Everything else is a crock of shit. Bad advice all the time, but that one thing was practical. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fucking
Does
die.
she do it? No.
God. No, she doesn't do it. You're right. You're absolutely right. She chokes herself on a carrot in front of the entire cafeteria.
It never gets brought up ever again.
It never gets brought up ever again.
She's like, take your clothes off, Mike. Bam, couch from the awkward fucking Jackson Brown song, and he's like, I really gotta go today.
He flops like a fish on top of her.
It's embarrassing for everybody, but it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. That's why in the uncut version, Damone's hangs dong pretty much. But that was cut because they needed to make an R because they were. And Amy Heckerling is like, no, everybody. It should be equal because it makes the awkwardness more. And so the Criterion Blu-ray has the extra 2 seconds.
Well, that's fascinating.
In the movie.
The hang of the dong.
It makes it a little more like, oh, it's just a little more awkward. Yeah.
The hang Damone, extra 2 seconds. Smoking is upstairs on your left.
Right. We thought we'd come over and help you with your math homework on such a hot day. Your friends messed it up. Who are your friends, Stacy?
Yeah, who are your
Linda,
friends?
I guess.
So one of the things I want to talk about for a moment is, besides trying not to pass out from your piece, your bit there, that was great. This is a Nexus movie, and a very big one. Like, you can point out Forrest Whitaker, Nicolas Cage, Sean Penn.
Nicolas Cage,
the 3 stoners are Eric Stoltz, Anthony Edwards, and fucking Sean Penn, man.
Oh, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? And then, of course, well, those aren't even the stars of the fucking movie. That's Jennifer Jason Leigh, fucking, uh, Judd Reinhold, fucking, it's oh my, you just keep pointing them out, going, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, oh my god, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god,
And
it's ridiculous.
speaking of extras, Kelly Maroney and Amanda West, they're all over the background of this
That's
thing,
what I'm
like I
talking
was
about.
mentioning earlier. It's like
That's what I'm talking
there's
about.
Kelly Maroney again, 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 again.
Hmm.
And you know who the other cheerleader is, other than Kelly Maroney, who's doing the little thing at the front? Kelly
Who?
Maroney from Night of the Comet, if you don't know. One of the things. It's
Yes.
Pamela Springsteen. It's Bruce's sister, who some
Really?
of us know from Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3.
Wow.
But there
Wow.
she is going, really? I think might be her one line in the movie where, it takes a lot of guts to get up here and do something people will make fun of.
So one of the things
Also,
I want.
Martin Brest, director of Sin of a Woman, he's the abortion doctor.
Wow.
Unless I got that wrong, right in.
Um, you to go back to your blowjob thing.
Oh,
Like
that's kind of a joke.
Mark is wearing a sparkly Popeye T-shirt, and I would assume that it's probably hard for a girl to give a blowjob to a guy wearing a sparkly Popeye
Oh, but
T-shirt,
she doesn't try to do it to
even
anybody.
in
She doesn't do it to
1982.
Damone. She jumps right all over Damone.
Okay. Well,
It's like, hey, slow things down.
yeah, it's exactly. So, Linda and Damone. That was my thing. One of my things is their speeches about blowjobs and putting out and vibe and attitude. It really, I don't know if that trope is before or after Fast Times, but I see it a lot later on in other movies. There's always those friends who give that terrible advice.
It
You know what I mean?
crystallized it if it didn't come up with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
In the first 20 minutes of this movie, I saw references to Wasted Youth, Surf Nazis Must Die, and
Mm-hmm.
several other punk references, which made me very, very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And Go-Go's, I guess, are a punk band from the
Yes,
80s,
yes.
considered.
The record store is Licorice Pizza.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You can see that
That's
sign briefly
great.
in the mall with Debbie. He's talking to the standout, the cardboard stand-up.
Ron, the stereo salesman, that guy's a douchebag in a lot of movies. Like, I don't know if he got a typecast, but I mean, I saw him pull that same thing in a lot of movies. And say what you want about Ron, but at least he brought a blanket. He did bring a
And he
blanket
said
from the dugout.
flowers.
Sent flowers.
But why did he already have a blanket?
We all know why.
We knew we were going to the point. The point, it's just so nasty. What's there to do at the point, Brad? We've been going together
We've been going together for 2 years.
God, everybody goes there? Oh, jeez.
No, we don't have any Blue Oyster Cult. This movie's infinitely quotable, folks. In case you haven't noticed already, they're literally just everywhere, hanging from a tree for you to grab. It has this weird bit of realism and charm while also staying a comedy. It deals with serious events the truth. There are girls that are having abortions that go to high school or were in the 80s, maybe still.
Hence
And
the
maybe
title
and probably in college too, right? So it's dealing with that. It's dealing with this idea of you date a guy in high school, but maybe you don't want to date him forever, type of thing. Dealing with the kids who just want to kind of sneak through school and be high and worry about getting stoned and having a tasty wave and a cool buzz, and even the nerd kids who are wondering how they're going to get a date, how things are going to go for them.
It's set in California, but it has several unaccounted for New York accents.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there could be transplants, but it is kind of funny. Damone's very different.
Yeah, that's true. Damone's the only one that lives in an apartment too, I noticed in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
The little prick.
And Rat leaving Stacy's house, and he turns around and the light turns off. Dude, she's still awake.
Yeah.
You can go back and knock on.
Go back. Yep.
So be happy to see you.
So here's something that's always bugged me, and this is because I jockeyed a bunch of registers, but I think I finally also figured out why. But when Stacy is ringing the guy up for pizza, she says, $1.10 and you get 5 cents back, which always seemed like it was incorrect. It was like, why is, if something's $1.10 when I get 5 cents back, I give you a dollar. Why would I give you $1.15 for you to hand me the nickel back? That doesn't make any sense, right? But like, if I lost my mind and in giving you $1.15 when you said $1.10, anyway. But what she means is the total is $1.05. You gave me $1.10, and here's a nickel back. And I was always just like, it always caught me, like, even as a kid, going, what? Is she stupid?
A mystery solved.
Yeah. Anyway, I figured it out. Breakfast Male Karen is my favorite character almost in the entire movie.
Oh yeah,
so good.
And then watching that as an older person, it's like, Brad, you did fucking handle this incorrectly. Started giving the guy shit like almost right away.
Yeah. What you do is you go get your manager, and your manager who gets paid $30,000 to deal with these assholes deals with it.
Because you're not a cashier, Brad. And you know what else fucked up? Where's the cross training? He should know how to run that register, especially if he's employee of the fucking month.
Right. You're damn right, Marty.
Well, I believe you have to fill out a form for that. Well, then go get the fucking form. Why are you there? You wanted to fight with that guy, Brad. It was getting to your head. Well, and he kind of gives Dennis that look like, oh, this fucking guy, and it's like, oh, no, you're fired. And the classic, I hope you had a hell of a piss, Arnold, which I always hear in my mind in the TV version is, I hope you had a hell of a break, Arnold.
Yep.
Plays these weird voiceovers.
Don't fool with it.
Oh, the TV version's great. It's also on the Criterion disc, so you don't have to hunt for it anymore, but there's maybe 20 minutes of alternate scenes that are pretty funny, and all of the weird curse words
with
change.
It.
Don't fool with it. Oh, that's my man. The last scene in Ghost Dog, another Forrest Whitaker movie, another excellent Forrest Whitaker film, I must say. And this is his first movie, I believe.
So he Ghost Dog himself, Forrest Whitaker, in this thing. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love when Rat takes is it Stacy out on the date.
Mm-hmm.
Damone tells him to put on side one of Led Zeppelin 4, and he ends up putting on Physical Graffiti.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, come on, man.
That scene has Cameron Crowe imprinted all over it.
Yes.
Oh, they're talking about Led Zeppelin.
Talking about music and Led Zeppelin, yeah.
And in the HD copy, I could finally see the smashed window from whence the car stereo was stolen.
Yes. Yep.
The old full-frame VHS, you couldn't see that. And I was always like, how did they break in the car? I don't see anything. I didn't think they'd steal the stereo. It's such a nice place. And then she says, do you want to come in for a suck? I mean, sex.
Yeah, sex.
But it wasn't for a suck. The movie's doing it. It's not me. I'm just picking up on it.
And then I think it's the next day that we get the scene that launched 1 million masturbations or more.
Isn't anybody fucking knocking?
Which is fucking Phoebe Cates. Yeah, Phoebe Cates jumping in the, taking her top off and going to Brad.
You'll never hear Moving in Stereo the same way again.
Never. You'll never hear it Moving in Stereo.
I hear it at work sometimes. I always giggle to myself. And one of the younger generation was like, oh, I love this song. They know it from something else.
Yeah, you'd love it from,
and I'm like, oh, you don't know it from this. Okay.
So good. So in the Blu-ray version that I was able to watch, the 1080p version, something shocking was revealed to me. Spicoli has braces.
Oh, yeah. I think you can kind of see that, right? Yeah.
He full on in the scene where Taylor Negron shows up with the pizza and he's talking to Mr. Hand, you can fully see these braces. And then later on, when Mr. Hand comes to his house and aloha, Mr. Hand, he's got straight up friggin' braces on his teeth. And I was just like, what the fuck? What? Are you kidding me? I never knew Spicoli had braces. And by the way, learn about Cuba, having some food. and Spicoli's face when Mr. Hand is eating his pizza
Yeah.
is just fucking so good. I love it so
Mm-hmm.
much. I really do. Um, there's no throwaway on this film. It's a tight, compact 90 minutes. It doesn't linger. It hits. It keeps going. It
Mm-hmm.
never circles back on itself. It never falters. It never pauses. And it's just tight and compact. It's literally like 1 minute or 1 hour and what 29 minutes, one
Mm-hmm.
hour 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Excellent pacing, like a song. Yeah.
It's so good.
And
It's
I
so
know
good.
that Amy Heckerling didn't like the music choices. She wanted a lot more punk stuff, and the studio wouldn't allow it. But I can't imagine this movie without even the cheesy songs.
Same.
So
Same.
even though there's a version, one of the early videotape copies of it we had years ago has like an alternate score. Like the songs weren't there, but it was the Joe Walsh score
Interesting.
replaced. And shit, I don't know if I even have a digital copy of that version anymore.
That's interesting. So I had a thought, and it was, what if the robber shoots Brad and then Spicoli and takes all the money and leaves, and that's the end of the movie?
Well, then that's the
And
Clerks
it's
ending.
Clerks ending.
Mm-hmm. Like, there goes your ride home. And they made it
Brad.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
I was just gonna say Brad moves on to clerking at the 7-Eleven. That's what you do when you got tired of the fucking fast food
Hey,
restaurants. Is you go into the 7-Eleven clerking.
Judge Reinhold's in the Clerks cartoon,
Is he?
and there's a scene where early on Jay slips in the Quick Mart and he decides to sue them because there was coffee on the floor or something. He slips on it, and then at the end of the episode, because Judge Reinhold is the judge when they go to court, and then I think it's something like by the end of the
Yes, I remember
episode,
this one.
they
Yes.
reenact that scene, and he slips on the coffee, and he's like, "I'm going to sue you, Brad Hamilton," or something like that. I don't know, but so yeah, Kevin Smith already thought of that one.
That's great.
But yeah, that would have been the bleak ending.
And then we get the Animal House credits that
Yes,
you hate so much. The
but,
Animal
but
House
are
credits.
actually funny here because we haven't used them into the ground yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, does this movie have one of the same producers as Mallrats? Because didn't they want him to do that for Mallrats? He's all, I want you to do the Animal House credits, and he's like, what? And he's like, because we done it on this movie and this movie, and I can't think of names, but could be wrong on that. But I still think those are funny. Blows his money on Van Halen, as opposed to the next movie, which ends with, and then Dwayne the Rock Johnson went on to a big career. Well, no shit. Did you really need to put that one in there? The other's okay, but we know who The Rock is.
Are you talking about Irving Azov?
No, I think it was like John Jacks or something like that was his name.
C.O. Erickson or Art Munson?
I could be off on that, but there was a TV show in 1986.
Yes, there was Square Pegs, right?
It was called Fast Times, and it ran for 7 episodes.
Oh, I thought that was Square Pegs.
Well, there is Square Pegs as well. That's very similar.
I didn't know there was an actual Fast Times
TV show. Yes, Patrick Dempsey as Damone.
Good
the guy who played Chainsaw in Summer School is Spicoli.
Yes.
You got Mr. Han and Mr. Vargas are both in it.
Wow.
Courtney Thorne Smith, is that her name? From
yes.
She's Stacy.
The lovely Courtney.
And then everybody else, I think, is relatively,
what the
unknown.
Fuck? What kind of story are you going to tell about this?
And Lee Ving is even in an episode, I remember, from Fear. And it's not the greatest thing. It only lasted 7 episodes, but it almost serves as this weird kind of pseudo sequel. Like, how do you continue this? And I remember by the end of it, they were trying to hook Brad and Linda up. They were trying to make a couple out of them. So that was different. It was like, oh, we're trying to go further with the story. I think Amy Heckerling directed a few of the episodes.
Interesting.
And also what's funny is the cutaway shots are like corn dogs from the mall. It's all the shots from the movie that are interspliced with the episodes in an attempt to give you that feel.
That inner pause in between fucking different scenes.
But they just
Yeah, the
can't.
cutaway little montages, sure.
They can't recapture it. I think Fred Willard is in an episode. Yeah, very weird oddity, and it's never been issued on DVD or any kind of streamer. You would
Wow.
think just as a curiosity, maybe, but nope, lost to the ages. YouTube. Yeah.
One of the things that I think is important about this movie is that it sets the stage for
Just setting the stage.
well, it sets the stage for a lot of movies, but it also cements, like, it's along with Valley Girl and some others.
Mm.
It sets that tone, that California tone, that California sound of talking, and the way that you talk that way rolled through the Midwest as a kid.
Oh, it did.
I literally remember people literally changing the way that they talked overnight to talk like that and sound like that forever.
Awesome.
And then
Totally awesome. That's this
it
movie.
yeah, and then it rolled over into a whole new sound, right? It's wild. That oh my god, totally awesome. Yeah, that holy shit, dude. That all comes from
It
this.
all comes from this. Awesome entered the pop culture lexicon
Mm-hmm.
because of this movie.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Awesome.
We
Totally
weren't saying
awesome.
awesome, totally
Mm-hmm.
awesome until this.
No, no.
Way
Fuck
of
no.
looking at that wave and saying, "Hey, bud, let's party." That's a
Mm-hmm.
big one too from back then.
The whole stoner thing was fucking and Sean
Mhm.
Penn looks high as fuck in this movie.
Mhm.
If you look, he looks high as shit. I don't know
And
if he's just method.
he's the surfer stoner.
But holy crap, he looked high.
Different type of stoner than we see in a lot of the other movies because he just wants to surf.
Mm.
He probably wants to surf more than he wants to get high, if I had to guess.
Well, if I had to guess, what would you
and
give it?
and checkerboard vans come from this
Checkerboard.
movie,
Oh shit,
which
that's
have
another
come and
thing.
gone in style many times.
But Vans Off the Walls literally
Oh yeah.
explode from this movie. That
Hmm.
style, the Vans Off the Wall style, comes straight from this movie. That's a massive, huge cultural impact.
Hmm.
I remember when I finally found a store that sold more than just the checkerboard top
Yeah.
designs, where you could get others. There's like, oh
Hmm.
shit, you can get other designs.
Yeah.
Cool.
You had to go to the Vans store in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
It was real. See, it was mall culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was very seismic shift when this
Huge.
came out.
Huge.
The studio hated it.
Of course they
They
did. The
didn't want to
studio
put
doesn't
it
know what the
out,
fuck they're doing. They never
and
have.
boom, it explodes. And I remember wanting to see it from the moment I saw the commercial.
Same.
And then I knew it was coming on cable like the next month, like HBO or whoever was going to show it. And my brother-in-law at the time rented it. And I was like, oh man, it's coming on TV. Look, I'm a stupid little kid. I'm like, I could have just waited a month, you know? And he's like, I rented it for you. And I felt so bad, you know.
Oh, that's funny. You didn't
And we ended up
understand.
watching it, and it was just like, it was fucking great. So,
Uh-huh.
everything
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, that's
9-year-old kid who probably shouldn't be watching that movie anyway, all is forgiven. And then I didn't see it again for a long time until, probably right around the time I met you. I had rediscovered it probably and was watching it like once a week.
yeah.
We had that
Yeah.
movie on loop quite a bit. I had the
Yeah,
soundtrack on
yeah.
vinyl.
Yep. Yeah, same. I
Was
watched that
wearing the
movie.
checkerboard shoes. Yeah.
I wore that movie out on cable. And I saw it. I don't think I got to see it in the theater. I don't think I was allowed to. I can't remember.
No, I saw a revival screening
But
years later.
But I saw it. Yeah, I saw a screening years later, and it was on cable in '83, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was 10 when I saw it, and I was like around those movies that I should have been watching, like Porky's, Fast Times. Some of those Breakfast Club came in, and I wasn't allowed really to watch that. But that's what I feel like is like, without this movie, you don't get Fast Times. You don't not Fast Times. Without Fast Times, sorry, you don't get Breakfast Club. You don't get some of the John Hughes movies, the more teen driven. Feels like this was the opening of those teen driven kind of comedies and tales that you
Mm-hmm.
would have.
We're in,
Mischief,
yeah, we're into
something like that.
82, so it's
Yeah.
starting to like
Mhm.
actual 80s movies can happen. But
Yeah.
you look at 81 and there isn't a movie like
Mm-mm.
Past Times. Those
No.
type of movies are still more, if they exist, they're more for older.
Yeah.
Animal House, a college thing,
Yeah.
I actually saw the Fast Times TV show when it was on. I remember that summer of '86 where they burned out those few episodes.
Oh, that's
Just
great.
thinking this is weird. And Danny Elfman does the theme song,
Of course he does.
just like in the perfect ending song for this movie too, where that "Goodbye, Goodbye" comes on. Which watching it with the subtitles on and actually seeing what the words to the song are a trip. I'm just like, what is he fucking saying? He's going so fast. Uh, it's we bring a Forrest Whitaker movie on the show, and I guess I have to give it 5 stars. That's what happened with Ghost World, Ghost Dog. So I'm
I
giving this
I
one 5 because I think it's perfect for
I
me
have
anyway.
I have no problems with this movie. Like I haven't seen this movie in probably 5 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
put it on, and immediately I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
again, fucking, we got the beat right over the Universal credits into the fucking thing. Here comes all the mall stuff, right into Stacy, right into Linda, bam, 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 off and running. Brad's a fucking dork, but he's still somehow got a girl. The weirdo dude who just wants to work from Bronco Burger at All American Burger. It just keeps rolling and keeps you going. And then suddenly Spicoli shows up and you're off with that shit. And then it just keeps going, right? And it never lets up. And it's fucking great. And I don't I think it's an American classic. I think it's kind of
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Watching
Like I
it,
think it's hard to argue with it.
yeah. You know how we say watching movies at different ages and you get different things. And
Yeah.
I go, oh, was this one gonna hold up because it's a teen movie? And it's like, oh, it totally does because, like I said earlier, they're perfect encapsulations of, even though they're too old to be high schoolers,
Yeah.
they exude that feeling of a realness in their scenes. And the movie's so simple, basic
Yeah.
sets. You
Yeah.
could tell they didn't have a whole lot of money. The Karen yelling about his breakfast. You look at that
Yeah.
scene. I look at it now and I'm like, this is so simple. The coverage is
Mhm.
bam, 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 and it's just so effective. But as a kid,
Yeah.
I didn't notice any of that. It just felt like it was a
Mhm.
real restaurant and shit. So
Yeah, and it's the perfection of in its simplicity in getting over exactly what it wanted to say and what it wanted to do. It wanted to talk about a bunch of kids and talk about a time where these kids are living, and there's no telling
mm-hmm.
if what the future movies like this will hold. But I'd love to see some great version of this much later. But I think this is
Right.
also as a movie kind of trope kind of died out. Like it's sort of got perfected, repeated over and over again, and now it's
Yeah,
sort of
that's
done.
what happens. Yeah.
You know, but this is sort of the perfection of it. I give it 5 stars. I can't.
Ah, this might
You
be
know,
our
I
first 5-5.
yeah. I there's nothing in this movie that I can't look at
Right.
and go, oh, it's terrible. It's fucking hilarious all the way through, and it
Mm-hmm.
never lets up. It just keeps going.
And think about another part of it through 2025 eyes. Driving down the street in your Captain Hook fish and chips uniform might actually get you somewhere nowadays.
That's true.
Because
That's
there
true.
was no cosplay back then.
That's true.
It was like he's wearing his fucking fast food outfit.
This
Loser.
fucking
And
loser.
now it's like, look, you're being an ironic pirate. Somebody might
Mhm.
be into that.
That's
Show a little
great.
pride. What? In
Show a little
Captain
pride,
Hook's fish and
Hamilton.
chips?
No shit. Nobody
Oh,
wants to
man.
fucking show pride. The only people who want to show pride and work at a fast food restaurant are the fucking people getting paid good money to push everybody else around to work at the fast food restaurant.
Right.
I
And
remember the first time I worked when we worked at Sayufi, and they gave us those little bow ties and
oh,
vests.
yeah.
And by the time you've been there 6 months, that vest stinks of fucking butter. Well, in concession, you're in box office, so it's not so bad. But in
But
fucking in
still.
concession, it's just like, damn, dude, you can't wash these vests hot enough to get the fucking butter out of this thing. It's ridiculous,
Box office had its own odor.
Yeah, I bet it did.
I used to have the book of this, and the book's quite expensive because it's never come back in print, unfortunately, after all these years. It's a
I'd
couple
like to
hundred
read
bucks.
that, actually. I'd like to read that. I knew Cameron had written a book. I'd like to read
Mm-hmm.
that. He did write the screenplay for it, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of cruelly ignored at the Oscars.
Oh, of
Um,
course, yeah.
but
Well, we know how
that
that
makes sense because
they
that's how it goes. Yeah,
you got to campaign for stuff, and
yeah.
people are like, "Why didn't this get nominated?" Because the people who put it out, nobody, unfortunately, had enough money to push or whatever.
Mm.
For more on that, watch the Dove Simmons 2 day film class, or whatever that was called. It's talking about how they can pour money into making people famous. But that's a bit of a diversion there. But yeah, 5 stars all around. Probably our first double five. I think. Have we said five on both on a movie
No,
before? I think
this
this
would be
might.
it.
Yeah,
No, this would be it.
and
Amy Heckerling is one of my absolute favorite
yeah.
directors of all time, and
Uh,
she fucking nails it here.
I hear Chris Kattan's book autobiography has some interesting stories about Amy Heckerling in it, so might
Interesting.
be worth a look. Apparently, she was the mother of Harold Ramis's kid out of from another relationship. So what I heard.
Interesting.
That kid's like 20 and then found out that Harold Ramis was their dad.
Wow.
So talk about fast times. But yeah, she's made a bunch of interesting movies. She made like Look Who's Talking and Loser with Jason Biggs, but she's also made some good stuff too, like this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you made this one, so you don't really need to do anything else. Where do you go from here?
Well, I mean,
And
give
Cameron
her.
Crowe ends up having a really solid
I
career
mean, give
after.
her some credit. She wrote and directed Clueless.
That's the other big one. That's right, and that was a TV show
Yeah.
too.
And the Look Who's Talking. I mean, that's just money.
And
I mean,
Look Who's Talking was a TV show.
that was also her idea. So she made a fuckload of money writing and
Yeah.
directing Look Who's Talking and made a buttload
Mm-hmm.
with it. And did Clueless and did Loser, and you know, I think, yeah, that's what I was saying. I think she interweaves kind of the artistic thing of like, I can work on an indie salary and be an indie filmmaker, or I can make my own things that are within that more commercial realm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, uh, that was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, a movie that probably we would have covered much later, but Mad Monster is
Mm-hmm.
happening, and we wanted to get excited about it again. And after we did Oppenheimer in Nashville, I
Yeah.
think all bets are off. We can watch any movie now.
Oh, dude, two others that we missed on Amy Heckerling's list. She directed Johnny Dangerously,
Hmm.
and she directed European Vacation.
Oh God, I forgot about that. One of the moments. And
Anyway,
try finding a copy of Johnny Dangerously. I think that's
really,
horribly out
wow.
of print as well.
Well, I mean, maybe that's for a reason. We'll see. I haven't seen that one. Maybe I haven't seen that one in a long time. So, anyway, that
Theme
brings us to
song by
Fighting with
Weird
My
Al.
Family.
Fighting with My Family theme song, not by Weird Al,
That's right.
but it is weird to hear Wild Side by Motley Crue with the lyrics removed from it. So my first thing about this movie before I ask you what it is it reminded me of CBGB, but you could tell they had the money to have all their music cleared, except in one instance where they couldn't get a song and they had a cover version of it, I guess.
Mhm.
And did this movie have wigs? Because if they were wigs, they were much better wigs. But anyways, what is Heart Like a Wheel? I mean, Fighting with My Family.
Fighting with My Family, 2019, PG-13, an hour and 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
A former wrestler and his family make a living performing at small venues around the country while his kids dream of joining the World Wrestling Federation for more
4,000
wrestling and
miles away.
entertainment. Written and directed by Stephen Merchant.
That was a surprise. How utterly British this film was a complete surprise to me.
Stars Dwayne Johnson, Lena Headey, Vince Vaughn, Nick Frost, Florence Pugh. It's quite a cast.
Mm-hmm.
Your storyline is former wrestler Ricky and his wife Julia make a living performing with their children Soraya and Zach. When brother and sister get the chance to audition for WWE, they learn that becoming a WWE superstar demands more than they ever imagined possible, based on an incredible true story.
Mm-hmm. It's like Leroy from Fame. He goes just to support his sister, and he ends up getting the dancing gig, and the sister gets all bitter and storms
Right,
off. But
right.
this, we get the whole movie of it until eventually, spoiler, Zach realizes, hey, this is awesome. And I'm helping a
Yeah,
blind kid learn how to wrestle, so what the
yeah.
fuck am I bitching about?
The blind kid learning how to wrestle is pretty fucking dope, actually. I kind of like that. Um, the dad's introduction, along with the mom at the very beginning of the movie, really sets the tone for the film. It's definitely, wrestling with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was so densely British in the first 10 to 15 minutes that I was like, oh my God, this is made for people who actually live in the UK, I think. Because I'm not catching the slang and the references. But then as it goes on, you get used to it and it pulls you along. And once the
right.
Vince Vaughn thing kicks in, it's like, okay, now we're watching a pleasant little tween movie about, you can
Yeah,
do it.
you can do it.
I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is Rocky. All right.
I love the scene where Nick Frost is negotiating. Or sorry, I should get closer to the microphone. Sorry about that. Where Nick Frost is negotiating that wrestler's salary by going, "Will he do a what? Will he take a? Hang on. Will you do this?" And he hits him with the thing in the face, and the guy's like, "Yeah, all right." And he's like, "Will he do what?" And he hits him with the other thing. Will you do that? Yeah. Um,
It reminded me of Youngblood a little. But instead of Youngblood where
yeah.
he couldn't fight, it's like this one's like, oh, she can't talk shit. So she
Yeah.
freezes up on the mic, so she has to learn how to be more of the personality.
Yeah. Well, that and dealing with, like, again, it's fish out of water,
Mm-hmm.
so you've got that, she doesn't fit in with the girls that she's working with, she's being pushed a lot, and dealing with, somebody asking a lot from her and that type of
Yeah,
thing.
very tropey, but when you
It's
realize
tropey.
that the
Yeah.
movie's kind of meant for 14-year-olds,
Yeah,
it's hard,
exactly.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm asking too much of this.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, and
pleasant kids movie in a way.
it's definitely
And
crafted,
it's a sports film too, so it's going to hit certain beats. Yeah.
I was thinking about this, like these biopics, like Oppenheimer,
Also
they
with Florence.
they pull out, yeah, also with Florence Pugh, they pull out like 5 years of somebody's life and show it to you, right? And
Mhm.
so, in some things they really zoom in on, and other things they ignore, even within that 5 years. And it's like, it's hard to know a lot about a person and really tell who they are
Yeah,
from
yeah.
something like that. And one of the things, like with this, the reason that she's called Soraya now is because that's her mother's wrestling name,
Yeah, they mention it
right?
like in passing towards
They
the end.
mention it in passing, yeah. And what they don't mention is, like, I read in Wikipedia, is that she and her mother used to wrestle together as a tag team partnership,
Oh, they don't
and
even
that
show that. Yeah.
she wrestled all around Europe and was wrestling in the States, and that she and her mother even had like a whole, classic falling out where they became enemies, bitter enemies, and did that
Mm-hmm.
whole heel type thing. And so by the time that she got to auditioning for the WWE, it wasn't like she
Yeah,
wasn't known,
she's a little
or
more
that she was
seasoned.
just some
Yeah.
girl who was just coming in, because she wrestled with her family. They knew who the fuck she
Yeah, they
was.
had to hype that up to make a
She had
story.
belts, and she had been doing things, and they did hype that up. And it sucks that her brother didn't get in. I'm not saying that or anything, but um, I do like the story of her brother. There's a nice parallel with her brother kind of dealing with that and dealing with the loss of it. And I do think that the way that Vince Vaughn's just like, just let it go. Like, you're
Yeah.
not gonna, and then later on explains to his sister, like, what? So he's chasing around, and,
It's like, well, because that was
he
me.
gets, yeah,
And The
he
Rock
gets a
was the other
divorce and
guy.
doesn't say,
You mean
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
the
The Rock was the other
that
guy.
means I'm The Rock?
That's it. You're The Rock. Now you
Mm-hmm.
can smell what's cooking.
Mm-hmm. And your brother is Vince Vaughn.
And your brother is Vince Vaughn. Um, let's see. Oops, I gotta quit saying it's in the end, it's a working class family trying to make a wrestling living, And it's not faked, it's fixed is one of my favorite
Oh, so you're
lines.
gonna bring this up? Okay.
I sure
So
am.
okay, let's start with. I've heard. Well, I'm gonna start even further back. Words are just words. They're describing things, and some of us should be a little less stick up our ass about what the words mean, perhaps in certain cases, like skit versus sketch. Some people get so upset when they refer to a sketch as a skit. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to insult you by saying skit. And
Who the hell gets upset about that?
some comedians. So
Okay.
also when you go to wrestling, the people who love all this extreme violent sport are so sensitive when
They very much
somebody
are.
says the word fake, as if anybody is actually saying you're not beating the shit out of each other. We're referring to the fixed part. When we say fake, we're talking about the soap opera, the predetermined. We'll say predetermined. Well, I'm not going to say
We'll say
sequential art.
predetermined, Marty.
I'm not going to say sequential art. I'm not even going to say graphic novel. It's a comic book. These are words.
That's fucking
But I
hilarious.
do think it's funny that the movie points that out where they get so butthurt. But dude, I'm not saying you're not physically hurting yourself. Now, come on. What is the insecurity here?
It's not fake, it's fixed. There's a difference.
Hey, jeez. So sensitive. You know what we're trying to say. We're talking about your storyline.
Oh,
Talking about how
that's
you
great.
busted your knee up. That's obviously real.
Yeah, I mean when you fall on a bunch of fucking tacks in the
Yeah.
backyard wrestling shit, obviously it's
Oh,
real. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah. So I'm watching this movie and I'm so used to Florence Pugh having blonde hair that watching her with the black hair, and I do think it's a wig, is kind of, she doesn't look exactly right. But then when she goes blonde, she looks less right. So when she goes back to black, she looks normal. I don't know.
I just know her from the Oppenheimer movie last week, so I'm just used to the dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's in Dune. She's been in both Dune movies and in the
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer movie. That's what I know her from. Um,
Speaking of Heart Like a Wheel, this movie did something that movie didn't that I wanted it to.
uh-huh.
Why do you want to wrestle? Why do you
Right.
want to do? Nobody asked Shirley in that movie, why does she want to drive? Remember, I was
That's
like,
true.
what? Why doesn't
That's
she say what
true.
her
Yeah,
passion
you
is?
did. Yeah, I do remember you talking about
And
that. Yeah.
they just totally do it in this one. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's good.
Nice. Nice. An interesting movie for Lena Headey after Game of Thrones and 300 and all these great movies, for her to be like, yeah, I'll play this
Yeah.
crazy ex-homeless wrestling person, and did a great job of it.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I thought that even Nick Frost was a perfect, especially when you see the credits, you see the actual pictures of them. You're like, oh, nailed
Oh
it.
yeah.
Nailed it. You know?
It was such a surprise when I see that credit list start. Then I'm like, Stephen Merchant. I'm like, what? And he's
Yeah.
actually in the movie briefly.
So you were talking about you were talking about the cover on the soundtrack, and it's Taking Care of Business is the
Oh,
one you're
that's
talking
right.
about,
So
right?
they're like, well, we can't get the
And
song. Let's do a cover. And I'm
to,
like, that at
I
least
feel
it
like
scared me.
Stephen Merchant owed someone a favor and was like, it's gonna be someone's brother's band or some shit, because that shit was
Mm-hmm.
terrible. Oh my god, it was so
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying we couldn't get the song, but at least we got a version of the song. This movie also, speaking of songs, and they're singing all the metal as they're driving around, and it reminded
Yeah,
me of
that's
Ali
fun.
G in the House, where
Yeah,
that's another highly British movie where they're influenced by the American culture
yeah,
so
yeah,
much. It always trips me out because there's always some of the snobbery of
mhm,
I only watched British television. And it's like, then you
yeah.
look at some of this and it's like, well, some of them are obsessed with some of our weird culture, like wrestling and shit. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Is
One of my
that they love Friends in the UK. You know, it's okay to love it here. But we always want to love our other things. And like, we act like our culture is like, bleh. It's like, wait a minute, TV's good if TV's good, you know.
Well, it's Frasier. It's all that stuff. If it's good, it's
Oh,
good. If it hits, it
if
hits.
it
And
hits, it hits, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. If it hits, it hits. That's just the way it is. I spent so much time in my youth sort of gatekeeping certain things. And I just started realizing you just have to
well, that was
watch it.
the
And if it,
time period.
yeah,
It was
well, if you,
mandatory to gatekeep in the early
it kind of
90s.
was. But now what you do is you watch it, and if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and if you don't, you don't. And who gives a flying fuck? But
Yeah,
back in the day, you could be ostracized for like some shit that other people didn't like. That was
that
how it
is
was.
true.
Don't you touch his dirty horn. It's one of my favorite lines in the film.
That might be the best line in the movie.
Yeah. Sex tape nickname is a kind of a weird one, but okay. One of the things that I thought about this that would have been interesting was we don't see any determinations of matches. Like we don't see them agreeing to who's going to win, who's going to lose. Because a lot of wrestlers when they're doing these matches, they talk to each other through the match. That's how they set their moves up and things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm going to throw you, and I'm going to do a hip throw. I'm going to push you that way, blah blah blah. And then but they know who's going out first, right? They have that discussion ahead of time, and I feel like it would have been a little bit more realistic or believable, maybe,
Yeah,
but
early on, we
maybe
get a
it would have
little bit.
taken away from the kind of fairy, because it is a bit of like a fairy tale
Mhm.
story aspect to it,
Yeah,
right?
that's why I say it's more of like a tween
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
But they do it a little bit early on,
yeah, you
like
true,
brother, right? You're going too
exactly.
hard, or and so.
Exactly, but we don't see it later on with like
Mm-hmm.
who's going to win, who's going to lose. Like there's a great documentary on Andre where they talk about Andre going for WrestleMania 3 to fight Hulk Hogan, and Hogan was freaking out because he was supposed to win, but nobody had like gotten that from Andre. Like Andre had signed the contract, but there was no guarantee even then that Andre would fucking
Mm-hmm.
lose to Hogan. And when Hogan would approach him, Andre would kind of wave him away or be like, "We'll talk about it later" or whatever. And so Hogan's kept complaining to the WWE, going, "We don't know who's going to. He won't talk to me, and we got to script it out." And Hogan had written down like the whole match on two pieces of yellow legal pad and wanted to go over with Andre, and Andre just wouldn't do it. And then finally they got out to the ring and they were doing the match, and then finally Andre was like, "All right, here, put me in this, do the slam. Okay, now you can pin me." But he just did it to fuck with him. He just did it to mess with Hogan, which I thought was hilarious. But
What
I want to see something like that. I thought would have been cool in this movie.
what you pointed out earlier also is you're bringing up what is the biggest shortcoming of the entire film.
Mm-hmm.
How are we supposed to kind of root or be suspenseful for the uprising of this character when we know everything's predetermined?
Mm-hmm.
They act like she suddenly won that belt at the end, but we know that everything is worked out ahead of time. So it's kind of like, don't think about that part too much like wrestling
Yeah,
itself, right? You're supposed to
yeah.
just believe the fairy tale aspect of it, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to show the
Yeah. Well,
guts. They didn't want to
maybe
show a kayfabe. They
maybe
wanted
that's the point, is
to show
showing the
that.
determination takes away from that whole, like,
Mm-hmm.
because if you know ahead of time that it's all settled and everything, then you go out and watch them do it and you're like, oh, it's not that big of, other than the
Mm-hmm.
artistry of doing it and selling it to the crowd, it's not that big of a deal, right?
And
That makes
also,
sense. Maybe I'm stupid.
to me, to me, I thought it was kind of weird, the ending of the movie, where she tries to frame her speech like, this is for all the outcasts, like it's the speech at the end of Revenge of the Nerds or something. I'm sure there's a percentage of wrestling fans that are this, but I don't necessarily think that's who the majority of the wrestling
She's
fans
playing
are.
into that outcast dollar, Marty. That's a big
Well,
dollar.
that's true too.
That's a big dollar. She's playing into that outcast dollar. That's a
Well,
big
trying to
dollar.
act like everybody who's into wrestling
Fucking
is a nerd.
Bill Hicks knows you got to play into that outcast dollar. That's a big dollar.
If you're involved in marketing, kill yourself right now.
I do like the credits. Seeing them wrestle as kids is fun.
Yeah, that's good.
It really it drives home how much of a life it has been for them and what a lifestyle it is, which I thought was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to get to meet her. So
That's true. Now I'm going to be like, oh, now I know who that is. The real
the real
Soraya.
Soraya. Yeah, that'll be fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed your movie. Tell me about Stephen Merchant.
Oh, you have a movie made about you.
I'd be curious to see how she felt about whether, how it represented her and her family. So it'd be fun to ask.
Meanwhile, Florence Pugh, is that how you say her name?
Pew.
Pugh is not attending any conventions anytime soon because she has probably a pretty large acting career and she's too busy for that right now. Maybe one day in about
Comic-Con is probably a biggest thing.
Yeah, that's where you got to go to meet her probably.
Yeah.
But Soraya's only doing one day. So she's the busy kind of, I'm in, I'm out. That's it. So.
Well, she's still wrestling, I think, so.
Oh, yeah? I thought she retired a few years ago.
I don't think so. I think she's still
had like a neck injury or something.
Yeah, I think she wrestled after that. I could be wrong, but listeners, write in and tell us about Soraya and her wrestling career.
Am I confusing this with David Arquette, who will also be there?
Oh, it's going to be a wrestling and honky tonk man. It's going to be a wrestling extravaganza, folks.
There's a crossover, the Venn diagram of horror, wrestling, and porn.
Yes,
Tracy Lord's also going to be there.
Tracy Lords will be there. Yeah,
and they cross over into each other. I can't necessarily say that I completely understand it, but I kind of get it.
Getting scared gives me a boner.
I used to really like reality TV and Big Brother and stuff, and so this is kind of that type of thing. It's like a soap opera. If you some people listen to podcasts, some people watch wrestling. I don't know. Some people do both.
So what do you give it?
I gave it 2.5. It was pleasant. It didn't blow me away, but I was like, I don't know if I'm the audience for this, but I could appreciate it.
I've seen it 2 or 3 times now. Mm-hmm. I've liked it each time I've seen it. I think it's one of those easy kind of go back to. It's family friendly. Like they did the right things with it. So it's I'm shocked it's not a Disney movie.
But it's a WWE movie though.
3 stars is what I'm
3 stars.
Yeah.
I started.
Just because I think it's smooth and polished and slick and really well done.
I started. I'm like, oh my god, just hit me with the British stuff again. And audiences, I'm not really too keen on it. I'll always watch because you never know what's what, but it's never my go-to for whatever reason. And then I tell myself, well, wait a minute, we're not inflicting punishment or torture on each other. We're showing each other movies that influenced each other as filmmakers, and it's important to learn each other's filmmaking language a little bit. Obviously, this movie inspired Cliff in some way, and maybe I should watch it and maybe derive something from that. So that's why I tell myself, it's like, it's not about getting hit over the head with more British stuff. It's like, no, he genuinely likes this and thinks there's something of value in it, and maybe I should watch it and pay attention for it. So I tell myself that sometimes, that it's never an endurance test. It's a reason. There's a reason for it.
There's a ton of sports movies out there, but then this is probably in the above average of them. But I think those are fun and have their own sort of valid space in film where it's like, eventually we'll get to those, Miracle and some of those other awesome, amazing Vision Quest. Yeah, we'll get to some of those eventually. Yeah.
The trope that I thought was pretty funny was, why is she coming in last place when she's trying to flip the tire? And she's like, shouldn't you be in better shape than these other people who aren't even athletic? But, you got to put that in there so she can have a moment of doubt and all that,
Yeah, exactly.
So the movie itself is like wrestling, right? It's the mythological fairy tale story of reality, much like a lot of biopics are. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, that's not really the story of Queen. That's like a blending
that's what I'm talking about. Where it focuses on a very short point of her life, and it minimizes and exaggerates certain things, right? Like, again, the movie would have you think that she just kind of wrestles with her family a bit, and not that she's gone to multiple countries in Europe. And then she's gone over to America and tag team wrestled with her mother through America at 14 and 15 years old.
We're not supposed to know that.
We're not supposed to, but if we do, then the movie's different. Yeah. It's a different type of movie, right? Then when she shows up with her brother to try out, you find out, oh, this isn't her first time trying out, by the way. She failed her first time and she got it in the second time. So it's a completely different story at that point, right?
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Exactly.
It's like in the Doors movie, Jim Morrison, I quit. No, you actually graduated from college. Oliver Stone is the one who quit.
Exactly.
But biopics, you gotta.
So that's it. Well, and that's why you have to take them with a grain of salt, all of them. And folks, don't meet your heroes, because your heroes you think are people that you just have made up in your head, and they're not the real people that you want to meet, and that you're going to be disappointed. Just enjoy what your heroes make and analyze it and talk about it, and then every now and then you might meet one. But if you do, I would suggest that you drop all your preconceived notions, because there's no telling who you're going to meet.
But if you go to Mad Monster Party, they book people who like to talk to their guests. So
that's true.
I've rarely met anybody up at that one in particular where I've been like, "Fuck, I wish I hadn't even talked to them."
No,
but
I've seen,
there are some
a couple
times where that happens. But maybe they're having a bad day because they're humans too. So, like The Rock getting irritated over and over again, where they're like,
"Oh, that was." I really enjoyed this. Can we ask you first? You want some fucking? And then he just goes off. And you want some advice? Leave the Rock alone. He's blah blah blah. There you go. That's what you need to do. And they're just like, "Holy shit, that was amazing!"
Right. Speaking of The Rock,
it's a fun movie. It's that's what I'm saying. It's light. It doesn't delve into like serious, like nobody gets seriously injured or has to live through pain or all this type of stuff. It moves.
You want that? Watch that David Arquette documentary.
Exactly.
And not kill David Arquette. That's my side recommendation of the week for future like bibliography work on this topic. Further research.
Well, speaking of further research,
speaking of The Rock, this show kind of had that Ballers feel to it, that kind of sportsy, kind of like, and a lot of athletes also really enjoyed this other thing that was kind of similar to Ballers, even with some of the same creative forces behind it, because they felt that they could relate in some way too, or the way coming up and stuff. And so your movie next week, tying into Mad Monster Party again, is Entourage the movie, because Johnny Drama will be there.
Oh,
Kevin Dillon. And that's another, not a biopic, but let's do a movie about making movie, but kinda, but not really. How does it work as season 9? The first movie I took on Reels of Justice that I think is now on this show. But I wouldn't have brought it up, but the Kevin Dillon thing happened, and I didn't really want to go for Bob just yet. So Entourage the movie it is.
Entourage the movie. Wow. Okay. That's unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't want to barrage you with horror. We're saving that for the spooky season. These people have been in other films.
I just figured you would have given me some other Kevin Dillon movie.
Like, no, have him help us. But
so many else.
Or the Doors film, but no, I decided to go for this.
Doors film would have been fucking cool. Okay.
It's still on the docket. Maybe when we do a Talking Kilmer episode, perhaps.
All right. So I promised you I'd go top down, and I avoided it last week due to the long nature of the films that we had been given.
Yeah.
And I see that Entourage is not that long.
Not too bad. It's like watching a season as a movie.
Yeah, not too bad. It's an hour and 45, so that's pretty normal. So I'm going to give you this movie, which is probably a little bit longer, and it's called Tar.
Tar. We're finally going to go watch Tar. Mm-hmm. What was that other movie we watched? Was it Whiplash?
Whiplash.
Where it was like, and then Tar got brought up, and it was like, oh, this is kind of another extreme Ari Gold screaming type person. I'm hoping we'll see.
you'll have to watch it and tell me what you think.
Well, there should be some commonality in this. Some showbiz commonality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be interesting. All right. Well, shit. There we go.
Yeah.
Tar and Entourage the movie. Sure.
Cate Blanchett and Vincent Chase together at last.
Victory.
Yeah, that'll be the line from next week.
Right.
Learn it. Know it. Live it.
Learn about Cuba. Have some food. Later, man. Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.